What up, gamers? Welcome back to more of this. I think I thought there was a way I wanted to open this earlier, and now I don't remember. Oh, I know. Like, comment, and subscribe. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Comment if you have something you want to say to me. Subscribe if you want to see more of stuff from me. But if you don't want to do any of those three, it's also okay, because I wouldn't either. Alright, let's get into it. Actually, when was the last time I played this? I don't even remember. Last time I played this was... It hasn't been like a month. It's okay. It's been a couple of weeks. But in my defense, I was busy the last few weeks. I won't say with what, because it's gonna really date this episode. Actually, seeing the date up there is absolutely gonna date the episode anyway. I don't even know why I care. Okay, some things to note. I think this overlay that I have on my video was way too small for like these last 40 episodes or something. I don't know how much episodes it's been. I just upped it to be higher res. Hopefully it looks better. Not that anyone cares. It's only something I noticed just now. Hopefully it looks a little bit better. Also, second thing, I'm gonna try something different with this session. I'm going to try to keep track of the time and end episodes properly, as opposed to long stretches of sessions and then like cutting them up depending on how I feel. I'd like to have a proper ending to my episodes. It'll make it easier for me to edit so I know when to stop it, as opposed to being like, should I stop it here? Oh, there's a little more of this part. I'm gonna try my best. I don't think it's gonna work out great, but I'll try my best. I'm changing things up a bit. I'm spicing things up a bit. It's also raining outside, so it's possible that I'm gonna lose light and you might hear loud rain. I don't know. I can't control the weather, but today seemed like a good day to get back into this game. Last we left off, what do we do? The engineer guy. The engineer guy came back on stand. It's been a while since I thought about this. I was editing a little bit, but the session that I was editing was like 2 sessions ago, so I don't remember. Engineer man came up on stage talking about something. Talks about a body double, I think? And I think we're about to call the witch lady, Madame Tispels, to the stand? I don't remember. Oh, Kazuma is here with us. Well, not with us, but with Barak, however you pronounce his name. He hasn't said anything, but he's just there. Susato is here, right? I could just go in. I think we're on a break right now because they're preparing the witness, Madame Tispel. I came in here with no preparation. I do not remember voices. I do not remember anything clearly. I didn't even bother trying to watch the last session to see what happened. Oh my god. Here's hoping that my mic is situated in a good spot so you don't hear me puffing or you hear me. Ah, the knight errant himself. Oh, have you been watching from the gallery, Mr. Sholmes? Has he been here? Did he come here for something? Was he just here? He wasn't on stand or anything for anything, right? I can't remember. I've been on the edge of my seat the entire time. Oh, was this the one where they talked about skin prints? No. Yes? No. Court record time. Let's get a refresher. Crossbow, right. There was a whole thing where I didn't examine one part and I was stuck for a bit. Right, glass. That was from... Oh! The wax figure. The wax figure that was in Madame Tispel's secret special exhibition or whatever. The body had this piece hanging out there, and this head belongs to the professor. Or no, it belongs to the wax figure of the professor, the serial killer that was responsible for killing Baroque's like a family brother or whatever. What's this? The contract between Mr. Asmund and Mr. Drebber detailing the terms of which they would profit from the kinesis. Investor Odie Asmund hereby enters into contract with the provider, Enoch Drebber, that's his name, the engineer's guy, to fund labor and materials for the construction of a super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Receive 30% of version. Drebber may uphold those right on condition that both contracting parties are alive. Right, Drebber gets 30% of all the, okay. So there was like a whole like trick to like pretending that this machine was actually going to instantaneously teleport someone, and if they succeeded they would get grant money, but the investor died in the process. There's a hole at the bottom where the body dropped or something, and that's probably what resulted in this crack thing. Right. I think we also didn't we accused we accused her, right, of being in cohorts with him or something by like faking the autopsy or something. I think I know she's sus, but we were getting bitched at for accusing her of doing something bad because she's like a trusted ally or whatever the fuck. Wiener Kid. I forgot about him. Bohemian Boy doesn't even have a name. What else is there? They're saying he's gonna be shipped off to France and he wants to take her with him or something like that. That's probably not going to happen, but they're saying that. I guess that's it. Have I caught up with everything? I really can't remember anything. I've been on the edge of my seat the entire time. Courtroom trials are fascinating affairs, as a spectator at least. I'm glad you've been enjoying yourself. Oh boy.
I have to ask.
I heard him not that long ago while I was editing, so I should remember.
What on earth is going on? It makes no sense. What's this professor business all about?
What was the last thing that you guys talked about? I do. Let's see. We can go through the log and see if the court is to delve deeper into the alleged involvement in a Waxford case. You're on the brink of opening Pandora's box. Okay, I think this is the concern about the body double, and also accusing Dr. Sith of being an accomplice to this or something like that. I guess that's Pandora's box. I don't know. We're gonna be in trouble, I guess. I don't know how the professor...
He doesn't look like any professor I've ever met before. Who even is he?
Of course. You were in Germany already 10 years ago. Yes, the professor. When I discovered he was the one who had been abducted, a sense of foreboding stirred within me. But who knew the monster would come knocking at your door? My heart felt sympathies. Ah! Ha ha ha! What? As it turns out, Lord Van Zeeks is even more intimately tied to this case than any of us realize, isn't he?
Susato? Yes, how true. His great friend from university in the dock.
And now a waxwork of the killer who took his esteemed brother's life makes an appearance too. I imagine even the shrewd Mr. Reaper failed to foresee that kick in the teeth. Oh, that's right. Somehow the body of the professor, the waxwork, is in the courtroom right now, and I don't know how it got there. It kind of just appeared out of nowhere. An extraordinary move on your part, my dear fellow, to throw that in front of the man. You make it sound deliberate.
I can't help feeling that this professor case is really very puzzling.
Oh yes? In what particular manner?
Well, there's Mr. Drebber, Dr. Sith, and Lord Van Zeeks. It seems that everybody in the trial has a link to the case somehow.
Yes, in fact, I alone am not a member of the set. Though, that leaves me as an empty set, all alone with no intersection to any other.
Excuse me, who's this? Madam? The other madam. Dr. Sith! I don't remember her voice, it doesn't matter. Dr. Courtney Sith! Niece Stevens. Good day to you. Nay Steven? Oh, Nay. Like, as in, like, Dr. Courtney Sith. Nay Stevens, because that's her maiden name or something. Good day to you. Okay.
Hello, Sholmes. That was very shrewd of you.
What in particular, pray? Right, that's how we figured out she was involved with the professor case, because Courtney Stevens is a maiden name, and the guard on stand was the one who blurted it out or something, because he's been around the clock for a while.
You requested that 10-year-old autopsy report from Gregson, didn't you?
Why would you assume such a thing?
Because Gregson told me.
Well, Gregson, you blabbermouth. Whatever.
To think it's been 10 years. 10 years in the laboratory, wielding my scalpel. I smell of nothing but corpse and disinfectant. A policeman on the jury had a lot to say about you, as it happens, Dr. Sith. And I've accused you of being complicit in what happened. I'm hoping that you'll take the stand and tell the truth about what really happened. That certainly won't be possible.
Why Bayonetta? Oh, sorry. I just suddenly looked at her hair and I was like, Bayonetta? I don't know if I made that comparison whenever we first saw her.
Lord Van Zieks won't be summoning me as a witness. Lord Strongheart has forbidden it.
Hey, no! You can't. That's not fair!
Lord Strongheart. The Pandora's box you were warned about is the Professor case. But please don't make the mistake of thinking you'll get any information about it out of me. But attempting to hide from the truth, that's cowardice! I've always fought crime in the way that I see fit. I have no regrets. None at all. And that's all I came here to say.
You're already here. You might as well stick around and testify.
So, good day to you.
Boo! I knew Strongheart was a bitch.
She mentioned it too. This Pandora's box. Whatever does it all mean?
There's really no cause for concern. I assure you, when the trial resumes, the meaning will become all too apparent, whether you like it or not.
Huh?
Now then, I believe it's almost time. I must make my way back to the public gallery. The edge of my seat awaits.
I think maybe you're enjoying yourself a little too much.
Ah yes, one word of warning before I go. If, in the course of the trial this afternoon, you perceive even a shadow of doubt about the truth, don't let it out of your sight. Pursue it like a dog with a bone.
Okay.
To the bitter end, you understand. Do not falter, whatever may come to pass.
Okay.
Alright, I understand.
Thank you.
Okay. Good. I shall make myself scarce then. Ooh, chocolate. I purchased a bar of caramel earlier, so I shall be gnawing on that as you gnaw away at the truth. A whole bar of caramel? That sounds terrible. What did that warning from Mr. Sholmes really mean, I wonder? Especially the bit about whatever may come to pass. So if we find even a hint, a tickling, a trickling of doubt, it's time for the final chapter then. What? I'm determined to find the truth. No matter what. Final chapter? No. No. No, you mean like in this case, right? In this case, the final... This is not the last case of the game. It can't be. There's too much to... There's too much that we need to figure out. There's no way. There's no way you can bundle up everything about Kazuma and the whole Morse code thing from the last game. There's no way. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. We haven't even got Strongheart in here. Counsels for defense and prosecution. Are you ready to enable to continue? Sorry, I'm like thinking too much. The prosecution is ready, my lord.
Yes, my lord. The defense is also ready.
As the court is aware, the case under our scrutiny began with a damaging incident at the Great Exhibition. Yet we now find ourselves embroiled in the details of a convicted felon who was sent to the gallows a decade ago. This trial has certainly defied all expectations. As seems to be the fate of all trials in which this Nipponese is involved, my lord. But aren't we having fun? Isn't this all exciting? You wouldn't get this shit from any other guy. So then, let us begin our exploration of the defense's assertions that the waxwork was cardinally involved in this matter. Lord Van Zieks. My lord. Are we still awaiting the arrival of Madame Tussauds?
Not at all. She is in the antechamber as we speak, and ready to be summoned.
Very well. Bring in the witness.
At once, my lord. Bailiff, show Madame Tussauds to the stand. Things are about to become a lot more intense. If Drebber is responsible, as I'm sure he is, it means he must have an accomplice in Dr. Sith. And what connects the pair of them? Is this waxwork? Yes, the model of the professor. That's the key to the link between these otherwise unrelated individuals. It's a tenuous link, admittedly, but at present, it's all we have to go on.
That doesn't seem efficient. To hold the head that you're carving into with your, you could put the head down and carve into it. Don't you also need a hammer, like a okay. State your name and occupation for the court, please.
My name is Madame Esmeralda to Spells. I am a waxwork artisan and the proprietress of the Madame Tuspel's Museum of Waxwork.
Sorry, I don't remember her voice.
You'll have to pardon me for working as I testify. My new exhibit must open very soon.
I don't think you would typically...
Oh, so he finally gets a statue, does he? Now there are two of them in the world. Oh my! What expression is she carving onto that face?
Didn't look like there was anything. What?
A number of days ago, a particular waxwork model was stolen from your museum. Can you confirm this?
You normally don't chisel things without a hammer, right? Because you're just... What are you banging into? This doesn't make any...
Oui, that is true. At first, we believe it had been kidnapped.
A waxwork model? Kidnapped?
Yes, my lord. There was a demand for ransom money left behind by the culprit. However, according to what I have just been told outside the courtroom, that was not true reason. I understand it was utilized as a substitute for the body of a murder victim.
At present, that is no more than conjecture proposed by the defense. This is the victim of the case in question, Mr. Odie Asman.
But of course, I know him well. He is a part of my old Jewish personage exhibit. Whatever. I detest to say what is evident, but Mr. Asman does not resemble the professor at all.
Yes, but perhaps their faces are very similar.
Are you suggesting that we should see now the damasked visage of the professor? I have here the key, but it is strictly forbidden to open the lock.
This is absurd.
Pardon?
I don't know what face you've carved onto your fancy figure beneath that mask. But clearly, it won't be that of the actual killer. Right, because she shouldn't know what he looks like, right? No one knows what he looks like. Indeed. The man's identity was never made public after all. The trial took place in a closed court. Why is my nose itchy? The proceedings were strictly confidential. The condemned man was summarily executed. His identity remains a closely guarded national secret. There is no possible way that a repository of tawdry exhibits could get its hands on that information. Unless you knew the guy.
Quel dommage.
Or whatever. I don't know what that means.
It would seem you are unaware of the Tuspel's principles.
Kepa? What principles?
The family Tuspels has always prided itself on sculpting its models à la perfection. Every detail, including the visage, is fashioned with complete fidelity. Sorry, I got distracted by my own spit. Et voila, our principles. There is a well-known legend about the Tuspel's waxwork from the time of the French Revolution.
I dared not live until today. That was fictional.
A member of the Tuspel's family is said to have made a waxwork of the queen who was executed. Oui, that is true. It was a century ago now. I believe the queen's face was carved in the minutes following her death, actually at the guillotine site. You are correct. The model is on display still today in the House of Horrors. We Tuspels will stop at nothing to obtain a faithful replica of our subjects.
Dear me, somewhat disturbing tenacity of purpose.
It is the only way to obtain a truly lifelike representation of the subject. And it has been my family's secret for generations.
Do you mean to say that beneath that mask?
Oui, the true visage of the killer is there.
This is ludicrous. It's out of the question.
Why is my nose so itchy? The professor spread terror throughout Great Britain. As a result, the Madame Tussauds special exhibit remains extremely popular even today. The killer, emerging from its own grave, is a sight to behold. You should come.
Okay, but he's right here, so we don't need to come. I think, madame, it would be beneficial to hear your formal testimony on this matter. You will explain every detail of this macabre model, and your personal involvement in its creation. But even if it is his face, how did you unlock the head? Unless... This is something that's been stuck out with me for a while. Back when we were at Dr. Sit's, her workshop, her office or whatever, there was a note in her ledger, like, of, like, things that she spent money on or whatever, expenses. And one of the things was that she bought, like, 500 scalpels. I just had a thought in my head. What if she was trying to use the scalpels to break into the lock of the mask? But if that was the case, the mask would be unlocked then, no? Wish I could zoom in. Like, what if they tried breaking into it? There's also a hook here. Right? So, like, you can unlock it and then unhook it. It's so weird how quiet it is while we're looking at this. This is terrifying. I fully expect it to blink at me if I stare at it for too long. Okay, whatever. It's fine.
The special exhibit in the House of Horrors is based on a rumor that shocked society in London. An impression of the visage was taken directly from the corpse in accordance with the spell's family principles. I enlisted the aid of the grave digger and created a mold for the head in the cemetery just before the interment. I hid myself until he gave me a signal. I was there for a very long time that night. As dawn approached, I was very worried that I could be discovered.
Who's the gravedigger? The gravedigger? The man sanctioned this? 1 second. How old is Madame Tussauds? This was 10 years ago, right? But when she was 16, she was hanging around... Okay, whatever. Things you do for your family, man. Family traditions.
Oui, I would do all that is necessary to achieve the true resemblance my family is celebrated for. Nobody else knew. Only the gravedigger. What harm did it do?
So you truly saw it. The face of that monster. She can say all this and you would never... You can't, like, disprove it, right? She could just be saying whatever she wants, technically, since no one else knows about it.
Naturally, I was aware at that time that his identity was a secret. But two spells would not be two spells if we did not insist on absolute fidelity to our sculptures.
I don't believe this. I myself have seen a special exhibit at your museum, madame. A truly blood-curdling scene in which the murderer is emerging from his own grave.
That scene it depicts was the subject of many rumors in London 10 years ago. I have here a newspaper from that time.
Good God! It's a drawing, too. I guess they didn't have photos back then.
The special exhibit was based upon the picture in this article. It was the most detailed account of what happened, as reported by the eyewitness who saw it.
This is signed Asman. This picture is signed Asman. Did he draw it? 10-year article has been entered in the court record. What? Mad Sheep Rampage? Wait, hold up. Shut up. I gotta see this. Wait a minute. I just saw a headline that I was very curious about. Mad Sheep Rampage! Unexplained phenomenon grips Oxfordshire region. What happened? What happened to the sheeps? Locals reported the most remarkable circumstances in which folded sheep were seized with a sudden fright and leaped from fields and pens. Not even the... Oh no, I'll never know. Charles Darwin to receive Copley Medal, the Great Stink. Parliament is to finally address the foul issue. After a great many years, Parliament has at long last resolved to relieve the citizens of London of the horrifying stench that carries the slightest breeze and lingers in the nostrils of every man, woman, and child. A great sewer system is... Oh, this is like before they had, like, plumbing or whatever, and they were just throwing their shit out the window. Was that what it was? That will divert fecal... I'd like that this is news. What's this? Was the ball mask to blame for the Great Blaze? The fire that engulfed the popular theater continues to draw attention as reports that Her Majesty Queen Victoria herself visited the Royal Italian Opera to inspect the site and offer words of condolences to the theater owner, Mr. Frederick Guy. Theater has been under lease to famed magician John Henry Anderson, and there is some speculation that the blame for fire squarely is with him and the system holding the whatever, blah blah blah. Can I read this? At something Lowgate Cemetery, just behind the prison on the night of that foul demon's execution, the newly... I don't think I care. But Asmon's signature is on here. And we can confirm that it's his because his signature is on that contract that he signed with Drebber. But this is supposed to be a drawing, right? This is not a picture. It's etched. So Asmon can draw? Is it Asmon's twin that's the killer? That can't be right. I don't know. Wait, on this road, here, right? Yeah, boy. It's a swirly thingy. Yeah, it's him. Well, that's gonna come up now. I need to see how this is gonna come up. Man rises from the grave. It's too absurd for words.
The public enjoys absurdities, monsieur. That is why I have reproduced the scene as carefully as possible in my museum.
And it's a waxwork from that exhibit that was stolen some days before the incident at the Great Exhibition, wasn't it?
That is correct. The professor you see here before you here.
What? Okay. Most puzzling. Counsel for defense. Proceed with the cross-examination. This waxwork links Drebber to Dr. Sith. And there has to be some reason for that, which hasn't yet come to light. But I'll find it. I'll get to the bottom of what really happened. I'll prove that Dr. Sith and Drebber were in on this crime together. We got this, man. Okay, special exhibit at the House of Horrors is based on a rumor that shocked society and everyone long. And that rumor would be...
A 10-year-old tale now, but one that no Londoner would ever forget.
Alright, I know just what you're talking about, I think. Girl, I don't remember any of their voices.
Of course it couldn't be anything else.
Whatever, fuck. Yes, that story will never disappear.
The tale of the condemned killer rising from the dead. That is the central attraction of my House of Horrors. The rumor was whispered all over the city, and it was like this. It was in Lowgate Cemetery behind the prison, in the dead of night after the execution of the killer. The interred professor slid back the stone slab covering his tomb and emerged from his grave. A young man who witnessed this felt a scream welling up inside him. But an instant later, he heard an ear-splitting gunshot from over his shoulder.
What?
The bullet struck the emerging corpse, and he fell motionless once more. The scream finally found its way from the mouth of the young witness, who turned and ran for his life.
Someone shot the zombie? Who shot him? The corpse climbed out of his own grave?
And then somebody shot him. Who was it? Nobody knows, even today. But remember, it was just a rumor, perhaps nothing more than a ghost story. The good people of London, they love stories like this. That is why it was in every newspaper across the capital.
But was it just a story? I mean, this is exactly the scene that can be seen today at your museum, isn't it?
Oui, the special exhibit was modeled on that very illustration. For a while afterwards, the contents of that article were reproduced in every newspaper imaginable. Madame, might I say something? Please, go ahead, mademoiselle. When something is described as a rumor, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's entirely made up. I believe that often, rumors contain elements of the truth. Ah, I see that people from the East can be just as astute as the people of Europe. Can we be sure, for instance, that the professor's execution was successful?
That's what I was thinking. Like, what if they faked his execution? Since this was a closed court case, technically you can say anything and no one would know, right? What if they faked his death and then he came out of the tomb to get away, pretending to be dead?
It is not possible for the dead to come back to life.
Yeah? Sorry?
10 years ago, I was there in Logate Cemetery. After the criminal known as the Professor was killed by hanging, I took a wax impression of his visage from the corpse just before he was interred. So I can assure you, the man was dead.
I see. Do we trust you or nah? Who started you on to spells? Why won't my nose stop itching? It's like when I'm talking, it just starts itching. Stop it. It will certainly appear that the condemned man suffered the intended fate.
An impression of that visage was taken directly from the corpse, and I thought that the potato...
Is that true of every waxwork in your museum then?
It is. Assuming the subject is dead, of course. Live subjects have to cooperate in a similar way. I have letters from imprisoned criminals all the time, you know.
What sort of letters?
When my time comes, please make a waxwork of me. I don't know how to pronounce that.
No!
My museum is famous, monsieur. To be made into a waxwork is an honor, and for some criminals, a symbol of status even.
Because nothing says hardened criminal better than wax.
It is thanks to that one killer in particular that my museum has gained such popularity in London. I refer to the stars of the special exhibit, of course. The Professor.
Whose form you claim to have captured by taking an impression from the actual corpse.
There are no exceptions to the principles of two spells.
I enlist the aid of the great deer and create a mold for the head and a sabotage for the interment. Surely that's illegal, isn't it? It would seem the proprietor of this repository of novelties was blinded by monetary greed.
It had nothing to do with the money. That man is part of London's criminal history. That is why I had to sculpt him to record this history. It is the raison d'etre,
Or whatever,
of the Dispels Museum.
but if the man was convicted in a closed court and sent for immediate execution, then surely nobody but the members of the judiciary present know the killer's true identity.
I assure you, behind that mask is hidden the true face of the Professor.
Do you realize what you're saying? The Professor's identity is a national secret!
I understand. And now that the truth about the special exhibit has been revealed, it must perhaps close.
Of course it will, as will your entire museum if you don't tread very carefully, madame.
That could be another interesting chapter in the history of my family, I think, don't you?
So 10 years ago, on the night of the Professor's execution, you took a wax impression of his face from the corpse. If they really wanted his face to be a secret and no one see it, why didn't they do something with the head of the body?
Oui, exactement.
Like after they hanged him, whatever? Why didn't they just cut off his head? Or rather, why didn't they just guillotine his head off so that you can dispose of that? I don't know. Oh, I hit it myself, whatever. You were there longer than you expected to be.
I had some difficulties in capturing the subject's form correctly. As I removed the mask, the mouth of the cadaver fell open and I had some problems with the chin.
Dare I ask, what?
The man had been dead for a short while already, you see. His muscles were relaxing and consequently, his chin would not align itself correctly. Oh dear, what a horrible thought.
So he had a mask on? Oh, to like protect his identity or whatever, even in death. But, okay.
Under normal circumstances, I would have an assistant with me. However, that night, I was alone. And as a consequence, I missed my preferred window of time.
What do you mean?
When I take the impressions of the visage of the cadaver, I always wait until 3 hours after death.
Why 3 hours? Is that amount of time significant?
It is because of rigor mortis.
Wriggly mortis? God.
It's the name given to a phenomenon that occurs in recently deceased bodies. As a rule, 3 hours post-death, the muscles in the bodies begin to stiffen. By approximately 10 hours post-death, the entire body is completely rigid and inflexible. And then from that point on, the muscles slowly start to revert to their relaxed state. The effect is often used to estimate the time of death when a body is discovered.
Well, that was an education. If a slightly scary one. And now you know.
As the mademoiselle says, rigor mortis commences 3 hours after death, and it starts in the jaw.
I see. So that's why you wait.
Before that time, the mouth falls open, and it is very difficult to do my work.
Before that time. So you did it before 3 hours. It's getting hard for me to do my work with all this talk of corpse. You're dealing with death. You're always talking about death all the time, Ryunosuke. What? I wonder about that information the courts just heard from Madame Dispels. If you're gonna ask it, it must be significant, right? His jaw? Anything worth noting about the jaw? There's a cut on his chin. On this part here. Does that mean anything? What does his face look like here? Wait a minute. Oh, no. I was gonna say his sideburns goes longer, but I think that's just nitpicking. Does that mean anything? Will it mean anything? Does that mean anything? Will that mean anything? Will that mean anything? Will this mean anything? Will this mean anything? No, I'm just like, I don't fucking know. Hey, yo, you got a chin in there? Girl, I don't, okay, whatever. They're asking me this. Does that mean I'm gonna say it's significant for the hell of it? I'm sure nothing will happen. The information about rigor mortis that you just shared with us. Would you mind including it in your formal testimony? I believe it could be of significance, you see.
Of course, I do not mind at all. I can't help feeling that after this latest topic, the atmosphere in this courtroom has become extremely grave.
Are you making a joke at a time like this? She's just trying to lighten the mood. There's no time for jokes, Mrs. Sato. Madame, kindly admit your testimony as discussed.
Bien sûr.
Or however you pronounce that. I am sorry for my fake French. It took me a long time because it was before the onset of rigor mortis. This is for the professor's body, right? So... Oh wait, hold up. Okay, no. Oh, there's something to this. How would this help me? Before rigor mortis, his chin's there. His chin's there. Off his grave cover as the young man who witnessed the scene was on the verge of raising a shriek. He got shot. Oh wait, sorry. Was that a stab to the chest, right? I don't know. Rigor mortis being the phenomenon you described whereby the corpse becomes stiff after death. I think you said that it starts at the jaw, about 3 hours post-death. Is that right?
Oui, c'est whatever. Of course, the exact duration depends a little on the season.
I didn't realize a waxwork artisan would be so well versed in the subject.
No, that is only elementary knowledge in the field of legal medicine.
I had no idea about it, but maybe I won't admit to my ignorance about forensic science. Well, you already did.
I can ask my father to give you a very simple primer if you'd like.
What? No. I think corpse should be your domain. I'm not good with them.
Oh dear, I'll do my very best.
What? As dawn approaches, I was worried I would be discovered. You say that dawn was approaching? What was the time of day then? Approximately.
Well, I could not say. But when I left the cemetery with my utensils and wax, the morning light was becoming visible.
The execution took place on 17th of June, which had the earliest sunrise that year. Indeed it did. First light would have been around 4:40 in the morning. Oh god. That really is early.
The fact is, I had very little time, so I finished my work in half an hour.
So 4:40 was when the sun goes up. She had it half an hour, so it was like 4:10-ish. But rigor mortis would have set... Rigor mortis didn't set yet. Wait. Is there a time on the... Midnight? Midnight of June. 3 hours after. So he should have been in rigor mortis by then. Yeah, she's saying he wasn't. So...
It was necessary to complete the impression and bury the body before daybreak, of course. If somebody had discovered me there, it would have been a catastrophe, so I had to hurry.
Is it me, or does Mr. Sholmes seems to be taking shape more quickly now, too? You certainly appear to go to extraordinary lengths for your work, madame. I wonder, is what she said just particularly significant? Yes. Madame, those details about how long it took you to complete the sculpture, and the early sunrise, could you include them in your testimony? I believe they may be of significance.
Of course, if you'd like me to.
You're quite right, Mr. Naruhodo. It is intriguing. A sunrise at 4 in the morning would be absolutely unimaginable at home, wouldn't it?
That's not quite what I meant by significant. Okay, so now I need to figure out how to do this.
With pleasure, my lord.
Oh, he said something. Whatever. He probably just said amend your testimony or whatever. I hurried to finish my work in a half hour before sunrise, then I left as soon as the corpse was interred. I wonder... No, okay. There's something else I have to do. Oh shit, fuck it, shut up! Shut the fuck up! Damn it! Okay, let me figure out how to do this. Did you have reason to believe you might be discovered once the sun came up or something?
I had paid the gravedigger money to keep my little secret, of course. But with the morning light, I knew that the warden from the prison would commence his patrol of the area.
Couldn't you just have paid off the warden too then?
I had already paid the gravedigger, as I said. You cannot buy the silence of everyone, or the secret no longer is a secret, huh?
Sunrise was at 4:40 a.m. that day, which means that it would have been around 4 when you began your sculpting work.
Oui, that must be correct. That would be when the gravedigger gave me the signal to come out of hiding.
So, that's all I have to go on.
What's your feeling, Mr. Naruhodo?
For some reason, Dr. Seth went along with Drebber's plan. Now, if that's really true, then the professor is the only other thing we know of that links the pair of them. So I feel sure that waxwork must be a clue to this mystery somehow.
In that case, we must use this cross-examination to uncover exactly what it means. Otherwise, the jurors are sure to revert their leanings, and the trial will be over.
I agree, but interestingly,
Uncovering what the professor has to do with all this means more to Lord Van Zieks than anyone. That's the impression I'm getting anyway.
Yes, as do I.
After all, he has a profound connection to the professor as well. How do I... How do I do this? Okay. Like, I know what the issue is. Maybe... From here? Oh, okay. It was the wrong sentence. Got it. Madame Dispels. I have here an autopsy report that was filed 10 years ago now. It confirms the death of the professor following his execution at the gallows.
And is that a problem?
I believe it is, because your testimony and a particular detail in the report completely contradict one another.
What?
Are you going to explain yourself, my Nipponi's friend?
Because yes, his friend, yoo-hoo!
I know it doesn't mean anything by it, but... According to her testimony, Madame Dispels was creating her wax impression just before dawn. And at that time, rigor mortis had not yet set in. Am I correct so far, Madame?
You are, yes. As I said, the stiffening of the jaw is the first sign of rigor mortis, 2 or 3 hours after death. But the man's chin was limp, so he cannot have been dead for a long time.
But on the other hand, if you look at Dr. Sith's report, it's quite clearly states the following. Death by hanging confirmed at midnight, 17th of June. No! If the professor indeed died at midnight that day, then by the time you were sculpting his face, rigor mortis would have already set in.
Oui, yes, you are right. The chin, it would have been completely stiff.
In other words, this report is wrong. Oh. No coroner makes mistakes when recording the time of death. The very idea is absurd. In that case, there's only one possible conclusion. The execution didn't actually take place at the stated time. Impossible. This is where I'm gonna end it, right? Maybe. Oh my god, it's so hard to call out when I'm ending it, because I usually end it when they're like murmuring. Whatever. Fuck. Order, counsel. This is beyond fault. Not only do you incite the author of the report, Dr. Sith, but you also implicate the members of staff at Barclay Prison where the execution took place. What? Oh shit. What? Oh shit. What? Extraordinary. Not my day. Oh god. Sorry. I'm so flustered. My lord friend appears to have overlooked one very crucial fact. What fact? The professor died that night, without question.
He did. Of course he did. I removed the man's limp jaw with my own hands. There was no...
Yes, the professor died that night. But what if he didn't die at the gallows? What if he died when he got shot in the fucking chest? Didn't die it? Are you insane? What exactly are you suggesting that did happen in that case? It's almost impossible to believe, but it would explain the link between Dr. Sith, the professor, and that one other person of interest. Asman? No? Drebber? No? I have evidence that will explain exactly what I'm suggesting happened that night. I do? Uh-oh. What is he talking about? Counsel, present the evidence at once. Evidence that allegedly explains what really happened on the night of Professor's execution. I don't fucking know. I don't know what happened that night. No. That can't be it. How do I present this? Huh. Is it the article? The newspaper article? What happened that night is written very plainly in this newspaper article. Executed criminal returns in the dead of night at local cemetery. You're suggesting it was a corpse coming back from the dead now. Well, if this article is to be believed, yes. The professor, assumed dead following his execution, emerged from his grave and was killed again. Don't be a fool. That's simply a rumor, published by the gutter press. Can you be certain of that? Are you serious? The point is, as the article says, there was a witness to what happened.
My lord, yes indeed.
My the young man who stole into the cemetery by chance that night.
What, Drebber? Of course there was a witness. The story didn't write itself, but obviously the man made it all up.
And in any case, this was 10 years ago now. There would surely be no hope of finding him.
What? You stupid? Do people not realize that? On the contrary, my lord, we all know this witness well. What? What?
Are you suggesting, counsel, that you have identified the person in question? That you know who claims to have seen this utterly incredibly event take place?
Yes, my lord. In fact, you could say that he's right here, before my very eyes. And before his very eye.
Well, substantiate your alleged claim now then, counsel. Who is the alleged witness of the staggering scene from the cemetery 10 years ago?
I don't know if this whole calling out when the episode ends is a good idea. Because it's hard to just, like, stop during the flow of the case, but I guess for this episode, I'm gonna stop it here. The next time we'll come back, I'm going to fucking finger Drebber. In more ways than one.